When you've been lying about something for so long, it becomes second nature. You think you're gonna get the truth in a town like this? When you've been lying about something for so long, it becomes second nature.
Do you see the beauty of it? The inevitability. You rise, only to fall. You, Avengers, you are my meteor, my swift and terrible sword, and the earth will crack with the weight of your failure. Purge me from your computers, turn my own flesh against me. It means nothing. When the dust settles, the only thing living in this world will be metal.
You remember me?
How you doing tonight?
Doing well, officer.
Can I see your driver's license, registration, and insurance, please?
Of course. My license is right here, my wallet. It's all right, son. You remember the night in July?
Hands up!
Hey! Wait! Put the phone down! Put that phone!
I
Sorry,
don't
it's a
write it
phone!
down.
It's a cell phone!
phone.
It's just a cell
I don't
phone! You knew he was unarmed.
Push in the car and put your hands in the air!
Officer, please, he's just a kid! You pointed your gun at him. Okay, get out of the car, son. Easy. He pulled the trigger.
Put the phone away! Put the phone away!
The grand jury determined that no probable cause exists to file any charges against Officer Randall.
This is my son. This is my little boy. You took that from me. The world took that from me. Today we make that right. Hear me when I say this, because I'm only going to say it once. Don't stop filming.
You should just give up now.
Why are we the only people in this country that are expected to do things without violence?
I didn't mean to kill your son!
What you did.
I did what I was trying to do!
I just want justice. That's all I want. This is your jury. The deciders of your fate. Today, you will be tried for the murder of my son. You scared? Are you afraid?
So begins the end.
Now, all you black folks, I suggest you get away from all these white folks. Not you, Stephen. You're right where you belong.
There is so much false information used to make evil to increase because this was the idea. Evil has to grow and mature so it can be reaped out of the world into the lake of fire. And this is what Christianity was created for, to provide a deception to make sure that the children of Satan can never, ever escape. Because even as some people are going to be listening to this, they are going to fully frontal attack on it because they will discover that they are evil. So they can't accept this kind of message. That's the way it works. So one of the false concepts of Christianity is that there's going to be a white throne judgment. That means at the end of time, everybody's going to stand up and stand before the throne of the Creator, and they will be judged for how they lived their lives on the earth. I want you to understand that that portion and passage in the Bible is totally false. Was written by Roman Christianity inside. There is no such thing as a white throne judgment. Now, what you have to understand about the color white is this. Everything that is white is pure, unadulterated evil. If you look around you in nature, there is nothing naturally white. The plants have color. Anything that is white in plants was inbred. I want you to listen to me. Anything that is white in a plant was inbred. And people do not understand that inbreeding has been going on since the times after the flood till today. People have been inbreeding plants. So when plants are inbred, so for example, if you go into a store and you get white mushrooms, those mushrooms were inbred by the generations of people who lived after the flood to what they are today. Now, because people do not know history, they do not know what plants ought to look like, which we're going to show you later. So everything white is evil, because for you to get the color white, you either have to bleach it to remove the color, or you have to inbreed it. That is the way it works. In plants or animals, you have to inbreed. In plants, animals, or human beings, you have to inbreed to get the color white. It does not happen naturally. Now, someone's going to say, how about the white clouds that we see in the air? The white clouds were created by Satan. Why? Because it's bleached of water. The clouds are supposed to carry water. Satan bleached it, and we now have white clouds. But if you look around you, nature, all around you, the ground, the soil, everything around you, there is no white in it. Because for you to get the color white, you have to bleach or you have to inbreed. So all the colors that we see, so for example, the tissue paper that you use was bleached from the original color for it to be white. The white cars that you drive, the paint was bleached to get the white color, and they produce white paint, which they use in cars and houses. Because why? Satanism is being preached so people can believe that whiteness, white supremacy, albinos, anybody with straight hair or anything white is good. So the question we now have to ask is, why would people go through such lengths to bleach paper to make it white and give you stuff like white paper and toilet tissue, to give you white paint, which you paint your houses, your cars with? Why would they go through such lengths to remove color? It's all because of Satanism, white supremacy, the belief in albinism that is the standard of humanity, because Satan wants people to believe in him. It's a deception to believe that there's anything good that has to do with the color white. There is no such thing as a white throne judgment. As you're sitting right here, as you're living in this earth, you are being judged. Everything that you're doing is being written down because people do not understand the shape of our world and what our world looks like. We are actually on a stage and the Creator can see everything. So once you die of this world, it is done, it's a wrap. You're not going to be coming back for any judgment. Your judgment is you're done here. You're going to the lake of fire, or you're sleeping and you come back as an immortal. That is the way it works. The Creator, now listen carefully to what I'm saying now. The Creator never created the color white, because the color white is an absence of all color, is an absence of all goodness. He did not create the color white. White is not a color. It means the absence of everything that is good. So when you read such portions in the Bible as in Revelations, chapter number 20, in verse number 11, as you're looking at my screen, it says, "And I saw a great white throne, and one that sat on it, from whose face fled away both the earth and heaven, and their place was no more found." This is bullshit. The Romans wrote that. Remember, as we've explained, and we'll go into full explanation of it when we get to the shape of a world. This is not the video for it. This is the video for people who hear and are going to the lake of fire, and those who will take notice and change their paths and trajectory if they were children of the Creator. We've been explaining this for a very long time, right from the time that we started on the remnant, all right, and the remnant's film, that there are two types of people living in this world. One of them are children of the Creator, and the others are children of Satan. In this video, this is going to be the revelation of who is who. So you see and know. So that when you see a person by the attributes that we'll identify later on, you're going to know this person is headed straight for the lake of fire. And then you will know how to live your life because of what's coming next. So this passage right here in which it says, I mean, you can read the passage right here from verse number 11 and to verse number 15. This is all bullshit written by Roman Christianity. All bullshit. So there is no such thing as a white throne judgment. You are being judged right now. So keep on doing all the bullshit that you're doing and all the abominations that you're creating, and think that you will have a chance and get to this white throne judgment at the end of time. You are foolish. You are stupid and you're ignorant, because people do not like the truth. As long as they're falling after white supremacy, as long as they're falling after albinos, anybody with straight hair, and treating them as their gods, you will never have any knowledge. Because the Creator, and when you listen right now, the Creator has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with any albinos. If they are not going after the truth, they do not know His name, because a lot of them do not know. They do not know His commandments, because Christianity, the commandments that you see in the book of Exodus, is not really the commandments. Roman Christianity changed that. And we'll show you why they did it in the first two commandments. It's all to promote white supremacy. So the Creator has nothing to do with any albinos. If they do not know His name, and they do not know His commandments, and these commandments are not in that book, they are not in this Bible that you read, you are going to the lake of fire. And if they do not pay their restitution, they are all going to the lake of fire. I can assure you right here, right now, you've never heard this before, but I want you to hear it clearly. There is not a single white person. There is not a single albino, anybody with straight hair in heaven. Did you hear what I just said? There's not a single one of them right now in heaven. Why? Because all up till now, they have not known the truth. They will only know the truth by the words that I'm speaking. So this is a chance. This is an opportunity in history for albinos to get it right by listening to the sound of our voice right here on this channel. This is the opportunity. So there is no albino, not a single one in heaven. All right, let's continue on. So we're still on Legends of Roll Call, and as usual, a lot of the transgender investigation that we're doing into the people who claim their genders are going to be mostly of legends. People that you think have been legendary, maybe in popular culture, as we say it. So the picture that you're looking at the screen is a picture of Vanessa Williams. Vanessa Williams was very popular, I think, way back in the 90s. She had, well, we just call her she for now, but it's not a she at all, it's a he. She had a lot of songs that I did like myself. And if you grew up in the 90s, then you would have watched movies like Pocahontas, in which there was a great soundtrack there, which was played by Vanessa L. Williams. Well, this is the deception that goes on in the world, because Vanessa Williams is not a female. So remember, we are using also advanced techniques of identifying the gender, which we do suggest that you do not use it, because it's only applicable to black people, woolly haired people. If you apply it on anybody else that's not black, you're most likely going to get it wrong. So the advanced techniques, please do remember this. Woolly haired black people, which you can be sure of, because they are in the exact stature that the Creator created them. Vanessa Williams, like we explained earlier, there's a clear separation between the shoulder muscles, right, and the tricep muscles that's behind. You see that? This is the arm of a man. We're not even going for the hips yet, but we're just showing you that first and foremost. Clear separation between the shoulder muscles and the arm muscles. So this is how you identify males from females for black people. Okay. Now, if you go further down, you will notice that the widest portion on Vanessa L. Williams' hips is above the crotch, not below it like a female. Vanessa Williams is 100% male. And here's another picture of Vanessa L. Williams. As you can see, you still have that clear separation. Shoulders, triceps. See that? Shoulders, triceps, because Vanessa L. Williams is 100% female. And here, Vanessa L. Williams, pardon me if I keep saying Vanessa L. Williams. The name should be Vanessa Williams as we remember her, all right? Vanessa Williams, as you can see right here, is trying to put her hands on the female waist. But he cannot do it because Vanessa Williams is male, 100% male, was not born female in any way. And this is a better picture of trying to show you that Vanessa Williams is trying to place his hands on the female waist, which should be up here, all right, for regular females. But Vanessa Williams is not a female, he's a male. And rather, what he's doing is placing the hands on the male waist, because Vanessa Williams is 100% male. And here is Vanessa Williams again. As you can see, clear separation between the shoulders and arms, as all black males have. And you can see that Vanessa Williams' hips is above the crotch. The hips are above the crotch, not below it, because Vanessa Williams is 100% male and not a female in any way. So the good pictures of Vanessa Williams that we should find on the internet is always blurry, because Vanessa Williams is 100% male, trying to lie to you that he's a female when he's not, a transgender, an abomination. So as you can see from this picture right here, that Vanessa Williams has clear separation between the shoulder and the arm muscles. And also from the walk, you can tell that this is a male waist, because Vanessa Williams is 100% male and not a female in any way, likewise. This is a clear example that which we can use a black male and compare with an albino female, because they're just two extreme opposites. So regardless, we want to show you here that Vanessa Williams has clear muscle separation in the shoulders. There's clear separation between the shoulder muscles and the triceps, as you can see right here. But with this woman over here who's female, you can see that there is no separation between the shoulders and the triceps. It seems like it's one long muscle. So this is what all females possess, all right? From the back of their arms, there is no separation between the shoulders and the triceps. So it's one long muscle. This is the reason why a lot of females will have what they call nursing mother's arm because there is no clear separation between the shoulder muscle and the tricep muscles. So as they get older and stock up fat, they stock up more fat over here below the tricep arm, which can make it sag sometimes because there's no clear separation between the shoulder muscles, right, and the tricep muscles. But with a man, that will never happen because there's clear-cut separation between the shoulders and the triceps. So you won't have that normal sagging arm for a male because of that separation. The only time you have the sagging for black males when they have their triceps sagging is because they are so fat and they have no exercise. But if they're fit in some way, shape, or form, the tricep muscles will never sag because there's clear separation between the shoulder muscles and the triceps. And this is what Vanessa Williams has because Vanessa Williams is 100% male. And as you can see, the way Vanessa Williams is trying to hold that arm, the arm right here from the elbows is not following the contours of the body and trying to form a female hip. You can't see it right here because Vanessa Williams is 100% male and not a female. So another trait with black males that you will notice for healthy black males and black males that are really black males, because remember, we've told you, there are some people who identify as black, but they are not really black, all right? So you have to know that difference today. With black males, the shoulders are always very square. We already showed you what a black female looks like. She has round shoulders, round like a circle. But with black males, it's always going to be square. And this is what Vanessa Williams is exhibiting because Vanessa Williams right here is 100% male, as you can tell from the shoulders. Square shoulders, right? And clear separation between the shoulders and the tricep muscles, as you can see, because Vanessa Williams is 100% male. And this is a legend which has been camouflaged for a very long time. And remember, there's a movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Vanessa Williams. Way back in that time, I don't remember if they kissed or not, but I'm just trying to show you how perverted and abominable Hollywood is. Because as we've explained, the more natural order and the commandments of the Creator are broken and denied and not kept, the more you have the power of Satan. Because if you are to keep and practice doing the commandments of the Creator, you would have the power of the Creator showing up in this world. So the reason why this world is so much full of evil is because 90% of the population are evil. So the power of Satan is so much in it. And someone's going to ask, how is that possible? We can't all be evil. But take a good look at you. Take a good look at what's happening. If you were not evil, how is all this evil happening like COVID-19? Because here's something you have to understand. The kings of this world make the laws and the commandments. All right? They create all the laws that we go by. But who are the people enforcing the law? Is it the kings or is it the people? This is now when you understand that the population is the evil. The kings are just 5% of the population. 85% of the population are the problem. So if you add 5% of the kings plus 85%, what do you have? 90% of the population. COVID-19 was successful because the world is full of evil people. And here's the last picture that we're going to show on Vanessa Williams, just to show you that Vanessa Williams is 100% male, because you can tell of the clear separation of the shoulder muscles and the tricep muscles. Shoulder muscles, tricep muscles, which all black males have. All right? So everything that has to do with the color white is nothing but evil and satanic and demonic. This is the understanding that you have to get. So if you're one of those people who loves the color white, you like white shoes, you like white cars, you like white everything, you like white clothing, you like white in any way, shape, or form, it means you are going to the lake of fire because you are filled with demons. Because this is what people don't understand. demons are white. That's why in musical instruments, or let's say in electronic instruments, or in anything that has to do with passing information, there is such a thing as called white noise. Why is it called white noise? Because it's demonic. So a lot of people who are into the New Age movement, or they have maybe some sort of sleep deprivation problems, they are told to use white noise to make them sleep. What they do not make you understand that that white noise that you're listening to is demons, because demons are white. So I want you to remember this. Black bodies, right, attract energy. So if anything is black, it's gonna receive energy and heat, okay? Anything that's white, it's going to resist energy, okay? It's gonna get attracted to energy, but it's going to resist it. So that means that in a way or shape or form, it becomes an impulse distorter or a short circuiter of impulse in anything that has to do with white. So since white things don't have energy, they're always going to be seeking energy from something else that stores that energy. So that's why, for example, if you know anything about Masons or Freemasonic symbolism or language or the occult mysteries of Freemasons, you will notice that in every Freemasonic lodge, usually the floors are painted white and black. Why do they do that? Because Freemasons who are into the occult knows that we came out from the blackness. All right? Creation is black. And a lot of people don't understand this. I want you to close your eyes for a second, all right? And imagine this as I speak. If you turn off all the lights in your house, what do you see? Blackness. The only reason why we see is because the sun shines during the day and the moon at night. But if there is no sunlight and no moonlight and no light at all, what do you see? Everything is black. Because creation is black. It's from this blackness that we came. I know some fool is gonna say, oh, but the water is white. Water isn't white. Water is black. The reason why you see water the color that you see it is because of light, is because of sunlight. When the light goes out, what color is the water? It is black, because everything is black. Matter, creation is black. It's from this blackness that we were made, because the Creator made everything black. Black is the accumulation of all colors. It's the combination of all colors in the world. So that's why when you get into your color wheel, okay, when you add up all the colors, it comes out black. But there is no way to get any color that is white. You have to bleach it, degrade it, or inbreed to get the color white in humanity, plants, and animals. That is just how it works. There's absolutely no white naturally in nature that has not been bleached, degraded, eroded, or inbred. Therefore, the white supremacists who run our world go to extra length to produce the lack, right? The absolute lack of color in white to make you believe that white is a color. Now, the people who started this idea of painting everything white were the Romans. The Romans introduced white supremacy. So that's why if you go to Rome or any of the so-called, let's say, houses around you, all right, that is used as administrative quarters, especially in the United States, you will notice that the color is white. Why? because white is symbolic of evil. In African spirituality, if you've ever been to Africa or you've seen someone who's like a native doctor who's into the occult mysteries, in the Yoruba they call them the Babalawo, all right? In other like traditions or ethnicities, they call them like a voodoo priest. You will always notice that they carry the color white. They're going to be wearing white dresses or have white chalk. They're going to be drawing themselves with white chalk and doing incantations based on this white. Why? Because white is a representation of demonic energy, Satanism. So let me read that first before I move over to this page that I want to show you how these people go through so much work just to make you believe that white is a color by producing white paint to paint your cars, houses, by bleaching paper to make it white and giving you white packages, white envelopes to put everything, because the idea is as much as they can produce whiteness, they are increasing the power of Satan. As long as they can produce whiteness and make you believe in albinism, white people, anybody with straight hair, what that means is that they are trying to bring in so much demonism and satanism into your mind. This is how the world is controlled. And we'll get into the finer details later for you to understand that every time someone breaks natural order, so when you bleach paper, right, you're breaking a natural order which the Creator made. You're taking out goodness. What do you have? The power of Satan, because demons are white. They get attracted to it. White people, anybody with straight hair, are full of demons. Because why? They were created through an unnatural process. And let me explain that here now, and we'll explain it later. So for example, let's say a father, okay? Because you have to understand that anybody with straight hair comes from inbreeding within the nuclear family, all right? Let's say a father takes his daughter and impregnates his daughter. What do you call that child that's being born from that relationship? Because naturally, the way a child is supposed to be called a son is that someone, a man, impregnates a woman that he's not related to. Okay? That is the natural order which the Creator made. Adam was not related to Eve. They were created. So the natural order is that a man meets a woman that he's not related with, he impregnates her and he has a child. So when a father impregnates his own daughter, what do you call that child? Is it called a child? Can the child be called a son or a daughter to the man? No, because he impregnated his daughter. So the child born, what do we call him? Do we call him a son or a daughter too? How do we explain that relationship? That is unnatural order. Every time unnatural order is created, what you have is the presence and power of Satan. So the reason why you have a lot of albinos in this world, in which they are showed to you in the media as the standard of humanity, because Satan runs this world. He wants you to believe in unnatural order, because all albinos have demons, except they come to the knowledge of the Creator by really knowing His commandments, because they do not know. If you're reading that Bible and you think that you know the commandments of the Creator, you have no idea. So unless an albino comes to the knowledge of the Creator and knows His name, and will show you this biblically in the Bible, so that you see that we're not just talking, they are not known of the Creator. They are all doomed and going to the lake of fire. So the reason why all this unnatural order is created, so they take up paint and bleach the paint to give you the color white. They take out paper and bleach the paper to give you the color white. And you paint your houses white, all right? And then you have all these albinos who are a representation of whiteness, the more demons there are in the world. Because of unnatural order. Because every time you break unnatural order, you inbreed a plant. It's no longer in the natural order which the Creator made. So what now you have is unnatural order. And you now have demons in it. That is just how it works. So when a father sleeps with his daughter, a mother sleeps with a son, siblings procreate together, and you sleep with your cousins, your nieces, your uncles, your in-laws, what you are creating is unnatural order, because the children born cannot be said to be actually children. How do we describe that relationship? Because the person that you impregnated is part of your family, is you. That's unnatural order. So this is why the government of this world goes through so much length to produce whiteness, because the only way they can rule the world and oppress you is through the power of Satan, because the Creator does not oppress. Satan is the one causing the oppression, and for him to have that power, demons must be used. So unnatural order creates the power of Satan. This is how it works. So that's why, for example, the so-called United States house, or let's say where the president lives, is called the White House. Why did these idiots go through so much length to make that house white? In the walls and everything. Why is everything about the American judicial system or American government in the houses that they create law and order? Why is it painted white? So if you go to the White House or to Washington, D.C., the White House is white, right? Let's pull up some pictures so we just can show you all this. So here is a picture of the White House. Someone went through the effort to create white paint and white limestone, because you have to understand this. Paint is gotten from limestone. Limestone in itself is not naturally white. If it has not passed through some sort of erosion or degradation or some sort of denaturing, limestone is not naturally white. But someone went through all this effort to create a white house, to make sure everything was white, as you can see right here in the White House in Washington, D.C. Why? Because the more whiteness you have, which is an absence of all color and goodness, the more of satanism and demonism that you have, the more the power of Satan that you do have. So that's why the Freemasons understand this occultic symbology. That is why in the Freemasonic lodges, their floors are painted white and black, because they are trying to combine both. They understand that we came from blackness. Humanity, the universe, is black. But for you to have the power of Satan, you need to also introduce the color white. Because all the white color that we have all around us is unnatural. It's artificially created by either bleaching or degradation, or by inbreeding, to get the power of Satan. Let's show you some more pictures of white things or white color in general in the structures that we have all around us. Here is the Vatican. It's painted white. Why? Because people, you have to understand this. If the government and the wicked people of this world did not artificially create everything white. So for example, if you go into, let's say, 80% of houses in the United States and around the world, the color white is used to paint houses. If you take a look at cars driving around in the world, okay, what do you see? It is a lot of white cars. How about clothing? Almost all packages, all right, that you receive or stuff that is packaged with is bleached white. because white does not exist naturally in nature. So these people have to create it. Is the reason why the Romans painted their temples white and wore white clothing, because the more white you have, the more of Satanism you have. That's why they went through such lengths to inbreed food to give you white rice. Food is not naturally white, it has been inbred. But because people do not know history, that inbreeding has been going on since the time after the flood. That is not just something that's new. They do not understand that any food that you see that is white has been inbred by the people who lived generations, eons before this time, who started the practice of imbibing Satanism to have the power of Satan, which is just a distortion of nature, of the natural order which the Creator made. Let's show you some more pictures. Here is the US Capitol building. It's painted white. Why is that the case? Because they have to produce this absence of color which does not exist naturally in nature. The clouds that you see that are white are bleached of water by Satan. And we'll get into that later on. So they have to produce this unnatural color, the absence of all goodness, to make you believe that is a color that naturally does exist when it does not. So that it is imbibed into the mentality of people, such that when you see blackness, you think it's evil. Because this is how Satan has distorted humanity. The US Capitol building is white for a reason: Satanism. So how about in religion? If you notice, a lot of religion, just like we read the Bible to you, they imputed the color white into everything. Let me ask you a question. What happens when you start growing gray hairs? What does that mean? It's a symbol of death. That is what it means. It means you're getting closer to your end, because everything that has to do with white is pure, unadulterated evil. The Creator never made us white. He never made anything white in our bodies. So, for example, when a child is born, the white in your eyes are not supposed to be white. But because of them telling you that your child has jaundice, they give you drugs. Those drugs start messing up your liver and makes you to produce less of the yellow color in your eyes and turns it white. The same with teeth. Your teeth are not naturally white. You have to bleach it white. That's why if you notice, if you don't use any of the bleaching stuff or any of the kind of like stuff that is used to create whiteness in your teeth is naturally yellow. There is no white in a human being. The white blood cells comes from Satan. That's why, for example, if you get sick, what comes out of your body? If you have a pimple on your face, or you have some sort of wound that's not healing, what comes out? White. The evil is a sign of death. So in religion, you see all like the Pope right here is wearing white and the people around him are some sort of white. White is not a form of purity. It's the absence of all color. It's talking about death. So the white that you see in your Bible was written in by the Romans, of which the Pope represents. So in African spirituality, if you're in Africa and you've known a lot of Africans who are involved in African spirituality, you will always notice this symbolism of them using white chalk and wearing white clothes. What is this all about? In juju, in anything that has to do with some sort of, they say that you're supposed to be pure, they have to produce some sort of whiteness, because whiteness is Satanism. The more white you have, the more white you can produce, the more of the power of Satan that you have. So if you notice way back in history, let's say maybe not that long ago, let's say maybe 10, 15 years ago, all right? Let's make it maybe, let's say 15 years ago, but you can go further back. You had black boards. The boards were black. But these people started thinking and saying, oh man, if the boards are black, people are going to understand that blackness is the way things are supposed to be. It's going to give them an idea. So it was always called a blackboard. This is what people grew up to know. Boards were black that you write and teach children with. What happened 15 years ago? They changed it to a whiteboard. Why? Because the more whiteness you introduce into society, the more of satanism and demonism that you have. So that's why in African spirituality, it is said that white represents the other side. It represents evil in a nutshell, if I want to put it right. But what they say is represents some sort of purity and has some sort of form that has to do with tapping into the supernatural. Tapping into that supernatural is talking about contact with demons, because demons are white. Let me show you that. So I'm reading from the internet right now. It says here, among many African peoples, the color white, for example, may signify the spirit world of the ancestors. Did you listen to that? It can go on to say the procreative power of sperm or the nurturing quality of mother's milk, Milburn says, read by contrast, might signify the bloodshedding warfare in childbirth, while black people may connote the unknown. Now, sperm is not white. If you look at your sperm, it's not white. The milk that a mother feeds a baby is not white. It comes out yellowish. There is nothing naturally white in the human body. Absolutely nothing. The reason why the white is introduced into your body is because you have been eating inbred food. And when you were born, all the vaccinations that they gave you distorted your liver and made your liver to produce more whiteness. This is the reason for white in the human body. And besides that, when corruption came through Satan, Satan introduced whiteness into human beings. It is the reason why human beings today grow gray hair as they get older. But when you're born, you're not born with gray hair. And we're talking about black people here. Every reference in our statements is talking about humanity, which is black people. You're born with black hair. When you start getting older, that means your demise is starting to set in. What happens? You start growing white hair. It's not gray, it's white. They call it gray so you don't know it. You start growing white hair and you die. Because white represents Satanism. As it says here, among many African peoples, the color white, for example, may signify the spirit world. What is it talking about, the spirit world? Now, let me make you understand something very clear here. For the very first time, you're going to hear this. There is no such word as the word spirit. Okay? Spirit is a total fabrication and construction by the Romans into Christianity. So when people go around saying there's a spirit, I have the Holy Spirit, you are saying nonsense. The word spirit means mind. The Romans, instead of writing that, because if you look at the origin, the etymology of the word spirit, it means mind. Instead of the Romans to write that into the scriptures, they thought about it and said, if we put the word mind, people are going to find out and know that there is no such thing as a spirit, because everything is mindful. Demons have a mind. Satan has a mind. Human beings have a mind. So when you say spirit, what you actually mean is mind. So when this article right here says, may signify the spirit world, it's talking about the mind world, because it's demons and Satanism which gives people the minds that they have to think of evil and do evil. So because they do not want you to understand how things work, they use this flamboyant word and call it spirit. So when somebody says, I have the Holy Spirit, what you have is saying, I have a holy mind, a demonic mind. You have a mind. Something is controlling you, and it's not the creator. Something is giving you the mindset that you have. That's what's really going on. So let's come back to the article we're trying to show you on how white paint is made. First of all, white paint is made from limestone. All right? The limestone is bleached. And let's show you first that limestone in its original color that has not been eroded by flood or water or any form of degradation through wind is not white in color. You have to bleach it to get the color white. So for example, people know that cement or mortar, right, is made from limestone. When you get a bag of limestone or cement that you use to create your mortar and your bricks with, what color is it? Is it white? No, it's not. Because limestone naturally isn't white. It has to go through some sort of bleaching degradation to get it white. This is what these people go through. The leaders of this world who brought around COVID-19 go through to have the power of Satan by creating more unnatural order and the color of white into society. You have more demons. This is the reason why albinic people are promoted, because they are people of Satan, and you're going to find out sooner or later on Legends of Roll Calls. This is still the introduction of everything. So let's show you that limestone isn't white. So we're reading from Wikipedia right now, okay? Here's an image, as you can see, says limestone. Limestone is a common type of carbonate sedimentary rock. And here is a picture of limestone that hasn't gone through degradation. The color isn't white. It's only when the limestone has gone through some sort of degradation by maybe water, okay, or wind blowing upon it that bleaches it. And then for you to get the white color, because limestone is used to create the white color that, or white paint that we use for cars, houses, and everything, okay? They have to bleach it. And let me show you that. So calcium carbonate is a byproduct of limestone. It's used very much in all the paint that we have all around the world, okay? White paint, calcium carbonate, one of the most major ingredients of making that white paint, besides the oil and the emulsifiers, which is gotten from milk. And the milk is also done what? Is bleach white. Now, when you read here, it says, calcium carbonate appears as white, odorless powder or colorless crystals, practically insoluble in water, or cost excessive in rocks worldwide. Ground calcium carbonate results directly from the mining of limestone. The extraction process keeps the carbonate very close to its original state and purity, and delivers a finely ground product either in dry or slurry form. Precipitated calcium carbonate is produced industrially by the decomposition of limestone. Let me read that again. It says calcium carbonate is produced industrially by the decomposition of limestone, all right, to calcium oxide. Did you hear that? So this is what is used to make white paint. They have to decompose. Now that is a word that a lot of people will read and don't get the which language that is being said. It means it has to be degraded. It has to be eroded to get white color, because white does not naturally exist in nature. Let me read that from a totally different document for you to see. Now I'm reading here from a website. We're not going to leave a link on this website because, as we've said, every time we leave a link, the link gets changed, gets removed. And for you guys who like doing research and you think that you can research everything and get your answers, you can have a go ahead on this one, all right? Do it on your own. As we read, when talking about colors, white is something of an anomaly. Can you hear that? White does not exist naturally in nature. It's an anomaly. Let's continue reading. It says, usually it's depicted as negative. Did you hear that? Everything white is negative. It's depicted as negative space. Stop right there. You don't have to read anymore. Everything that has to do with white is pure, unadulterated evil. If you love the color white, something's wrong with you and you're going to the lake of fire, it's a clear indication. Now, continue reading from this website. It says here, one thing to understand about the fundamental nature of color is saturation. The more saturated a color is, the deeper and richer it is. Did you hear that? Now, I want you to pay attention to this. I want you to go take a look at black people, right? The darker that black person is, all right? The darker a black person is, you will notice how flawless the skin of the individual is. Because the blacker and darker you are, it means you have more life. It means you're stronger. That is what it means. Now, even though black people naturally can get as dark as they can, the reason for the different hues of black people is based on two things and two things only: inbreeding and a lack of sunlight. That's all what it is. Naturally, they should be all black. But someone is coming from a line of either inbreeding or the parents did not just like sunlight, and they have these different hues and shades of black. Now let's read one more part for you to see that white is not a color. It's the absence of all color. And white represents demons, Satanism. It's the same reason why you have such thing as white noise. White noise means you're listening to demons. So let's read here. It says, white is the absence of color. Did you hear that? Let's read it again. White is the absence of color, which means that the more you mix, the further away you get from achieving white. There is no way you can achieve white color in nature, naturally. You have to inbreed it. You have to degrade it. You have to bleach it. You have to erode it for you to get the color white. And when you get the color white, because you have to remember this, as we've said, anytime you break natural order, so for example, someone bleaches paper, what you have is demons in that paper when you get to use it. Every time you break natural order, what you have is the presence of Satan and demons. Because you're not supposed to bleach the paper. Why do you want to take the color out of it? Let's continue on. So we want to show you that white noise has to do with the presence of demons. So if you ever turn your TV, to understand what white noise is, if you turn on your TV and there's no signal coming from maybe, let's say, a cable box, all right? And you try to connect to a cable box, that sound that you hear, those are demons. Now, people don't understand this because you haven't been taught about what's going on in this world, because everything that you know is a lie. Everything that you've been told is a lie. And you're going to find that as we get into Legends of Roll Call, as we continue on. Everything you've been told is a lie. What these people tell you is not what it is. Because the only way they can control people is by ignorance. And the longer people stay in ignorance, it means they are children of Satan. If you are stubborn and you refuse knowledge and you're ignorant, or you're stupid, all right? Or you're crazy, or you're mad as you see a mad person walking on the street, it means you're headed to the lake of fire. If you cannot understand what you're being taught as you're listening to the sound of my voice, you do not understand what I'm saying, or you have a hard time understanding things, you are headed for the lake of fire, because it means that you're filled with so much demons that they cannot allow you to process information or grasp it. If you're stubborn and you're always fighting against the truth, you're always arguing over the truth, it means that you are filled with demons and you're headed to the lake of fire. Now, reading here, it says, in signal processing, white noise is a random signal having equal intensity and different frequencies. What does that mean? So if you listen to the static on your TV when you're trying to tune into maybe a channel, it goes like this. Shh. So it's saying that the signal is random. All right? Random because they're not making any clear sound. They're just going shh. And there are different frequencies. So let me play a little clip for you to hear what white noise actually sounds like if you've never heard it before, okay? If you did listen to this clip that we played, that is what white noise sounds like. And you're looking at what is the actual representation of white noise. So as you're looking at the screen right here, you can see that this screen is trying to show you some sort of black color, but there is so much white in it, right? All the white that you see right there, these are demons, okay? So when people get possessed, right? This is what is flooding into your system. Because all these things, white noise serves as a short circuiter of energy because it does not have power to retain energy. So it's always trying to zap energy from you, and at the same time it can't retain it, so it serves as a short circuiter. So this is what demons do. And demons can only occur when there is unnatural order, when there is a disobedience for the commandments of the Creator. So the more disobedience that is created in the earth for unnatural order through the crazy laws that the government makes, which encourages all sorts of immorality and breaking of natural order, the more power of Satan that you have. That is why the world is filled with so much evil, because 90% of the population are all interested in white supremacy in one shape or form or the other. They think everything that has to do with black is evil. If they see black foods, black animals, black plants, they think it's evil. This is the mentality that has been created by white supremacy, so that you do not see or know that we were all created. Let's continue on. So still reading from the Wikipedia page on white noise. I want you guys to notice something, because as we explain that white noise serves as a short circuiter of energy. And anytime you short circuit something, what happens? You have an electrical shock. So for example, during the winter period, okay, a lot of people get static shock, all right? They touch a metal object and it seems like they get a shock from it. What just happened? That is demons right there. They serve as short circuiters. And every time there's a short circuit, what you have is an electric shock. Now it says here in this Wikipedia page, in discrete time, white noise is a discrete signal. What is the meaning of discrete? It means hidden. Aren't demons hidden? Because no matter as we have explained it, people don't see demons physically because they are all white. They're all in the white things around you. White noise, white paper, white cars, white clothes, white shoes, white food, white blood cells. The people who write this information know what they're talking about because they deal with this on a daily basis. Demonology is a science. This is what they have studied and imputed into humanity to control it. In discrete time, white noise is a discrete signal, is a hidden signal whose samples are regarded as a sequence of serially uncorrelated random variables. But like we showed you earlier, if you remember, we showed you on part 1 of the Legends of Roll Call. Stuff that seems random is not actually random. You can control it. So let me explain what that means. So for example, if someone looks at a kettle that's boiling with water, all the particles seems to be random, right? But they are not random. They are all working together to make the water boil and evaporate. So there's nothing random in nature. it's all organized. All demons work together. So somebody can create, so somebody can take the boiling water right there, right? And make it and move it any way he wants. He can move it to the side. So let's say for example, the boiling water is in a kettle, right? If the person turns the kettle this way, the boiling water moves that way. If he turns it the other way, the boiling water moves that way inside the kettle. So it's all random, but it can be controlled. Does that make sense? So continue reading. It says, in discrete time, white noise is a discrete signal. Let me read it right. In hidden time, white noise is a hidden signal whose samples are regarded as a sequence of serially uncorrelated random variables with zero mean and finite variance. A single realization of white noise is a random shock. Did you hear that? So every time you get a shock, what just happened? A demon was at work. You hear some sort of information and your heartbeat skips a bit. What does that mean? The information you heard had demons in it. And when you heard it, it short-circuited your mind and your heartbeat fluctuated. This is demonology, which you're not taught on how things work. And let's read some further information down here in this article again. So in work environments, you hear this in all this new age, especially in so many companies. You go around, they tell you if you can't sleep, use some white noise, is going to help you sleep, or maybe use white noise to help you relax. What they are feeding you through that white noise is actually demons. And you're going to find out as we read this article right here now. It says here, work environment. The effects of white noise upon cognitive function are mixed. I want you to hear that. They say the effects of white noise on cognitive function, on your mind, they say that the study of it is mixed. Why do they tell you it's mixed? Here, they tell you it's mixed, but in your work environment, what do they tell you? Or when you go to meet your doctor and you say you can't sleep and they say, listen to some white noise. But here they tell you it's mixed. If anything is mixed, what does that mean? It is evil. It's just a nice way of telling you it's evil. Truth is truth. Truth isn't mixed. Truth is truth. The sun shines every day. That's truth. There's no mixed day of saying the sun does not shine. If it's mixed, it means it's a lie. So every time people, all right, are mixing themselves up with other stuff, they have lost the purity of what they are. They have become something else. Let's continue reading. It said recently, a small study found that white noise background stimulation improves cognitive functioning among secondary students with attention deficit disorder. What does that mean? If somebody, like I explained earlier, if you're unable to understand stuff, you're ignorant, you're stubborn, all right? When hearing the truth, it means you're filled with demons. I want you to pay attention. It means you are filled with demons if you can't understand anything. You're mad, you're crazy, all right? You can't focus on stuff. You have a hard time understanding things when they are broken down to you in the simplest form. It means your mind is filled with demons. Okay? Now, it says here that people who were given white noise, all right, who have an attention deficit, people who can't focus, people who can't think, the ignorant, the stupid, those who are stubborn. He says every time they were given white noise, all right, they improve their cognitive functioning. What does that mean? It means the person already who has an attention deficit disorder already has demons. And more demons are given to him to calm him down, to control the other demons that are already inside. That is what is happening. Because the next statement that I'm going to read shows you that. It says, when white noise was now given to non-ADH students, it decreased their performance. Did you see that? White noise had what? Cognitive functioning among people who had an attention deficit. It calmed them down. But people who did not have this attention deficit, so that means, for example, someone who can understand things, can think, can reason things logically, when they were given white noise, it decreased their ability to think and reason. What just happened? Because the person with non-ADHD, non-attention deficit disorder, has no demons, and they introduce demons into him in white noise or her in white noise, and their performance decreased. This is the truth about anything that's white. It's evil, it's satanic, it's demonic. That is why these people go through so much length to introduce whiteness into life, because it does not exist naturally. The only thing that you will see exist as a white color is white clouds, and white clouds have no water because Satan is the god of weather. All the weather that's going on in the world, the tornadoes, all right, the hurricanes, the earthquakes, the volcanoes, the rain is all caused by Satan. When you read in the book of Genesis, you don't see any weather. Go read Genesis chapter 1 in the creation story. There is no indication that the Creator made weather. So where did it come from? All weather comes from Satan. So the so-called hoax of global warming, because the people who worship Satan know this. They know that global warming is a hoax because Satan is the one controlling the weather. So the weird weather that we have during winter, the weird weather and coldness and chill that we've had for the past 2 years, which has made people to have the flu and the cold and call it COVID-19, despite the fact that the government of this world poisoned people through the food to get COVID-19, which we're going to get into later, which is just a flu. All that weather, all that weird weather of cold is all caused by Satan. Let's continue on. We want to show you now with an example that evil people can never repent. The only thing that happens to evil people is that when they get caught and they are shown they are evil, they have some sort of remorse, but they never change. They continue exactly along the same trajectory, because if you're born evil, there's no such thing as repentance. Now, the story that we want to give you as an example is a very popular story that people know about and have heard about in the Bible. It's the story of Ahab and Jezebel. Ahab was one of the most wicked kings that the remnant ever had. All right? He was wicked to the bone. Now, when Ahab was accosted by Elijah and told of his wickedness and how he would die, because only thing that makes wicked people to be afraid is that they are afraid of death. They don't really know what's going to happen after they die. They are not sure. And the demons that have clouded their minds and their judgments will never let them to be able to see or understand the truth enough of what is going to happen after they die. That they are going to hell first, and then they're going to end up in the lake of fire. All right? So Ahab here was very wicked. And when he was told by the high priest Elijah that he was going to die and that the Creator was visiting him for his wickedness, Ahab had some remorse. You can read about this in 1 Kings chapter number 21, and we're going to read to show you Ahab's remorse, even though he never changed, from verse number 26. Okay, let's start from verse number 25. It says here, "But there was none like Ahab, who did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord, whom Jezebel his wife provoked." So that means Ahab's wife, Jezebel, always taught him or provoked him to do more wickedness. Now, the Bible covered up a lot of atrocities that the Sadducees, Pharisees, and the kings of the remnant did, because the Romans wanted you to see kingship, all right, or the leaders of the world in a great light, so that you would never know that the high priests were the only one who spoke for the Creator. So they hid a lot of things that these kings of the remnant did. So for example, every time it says, I want you to pay attention now, every time it says that someone did wickedness in the Bible, the first and foremost thing you have to understand that the person did was to inbreed. That means this man or this woman was sleeping with members of his own nuclear family. So the very first thing you have to understand is that this person was inbreeding. Once they say someone was wicked, it means the person was inbreeding, number one. Number two, it means the person was committing homosexuality, sodomy, all right? Number three, it means that the person was imposing themselves as a high priest. Remember, Ahab had a lot of prophets of Baal, which Elijah killed, right? So that means he had a lot of high priests and was imposing himself as one. Number four, the person was a murderer, okay, which Ahab did. He killed someone provoked by his wife so he could get the threshing floor, have some property. Number five, it means that the person also was committing pedophilia and bestiality. So these are the grave breaking or denying of commandment, which means that you're wicked. So when someone is wicked in the Bible, I want you to understand that, because the Romans took all of this out, because they did not want you to see and understand the commandments. All right, let's now read what happened to Ahab. Okay, that when he heard that he was going to die, he became remorseful, but he did not change his trajectory. It did not change him. He did not repent. So as we read here on, it says from 1 Kings chapter number 21 from verse 25, it said, "But there was none like Ahab, who did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord, whom Jezebel his wife provoked. For he did exceedingly abominably in following idols, according to all that the Amorites did, whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel." Now when Ahab heard these words, which words did Ahab hear? That he was going to die and how he was going to die, as the Creator told him, all right? He rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon him and fasted and lay in sackcloth and went softly, all right? We're not going to get into this. This is all which language right here in that particular verse 27. Let's continue. And it says, "And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, See how Ahab is humble before me." It just means that Ahab here shows remorse, but he did not repent, because later on, Ahab is going to change trajectory after this incident. And when another high priest told him that he should not go into a battle, he decided to jail that high priest. People who change or repent do not fight the deliverer of the message. So a lot of people right here who are wicked are going to attack us of this message, and they're going to try to take this video off YouTube. What does that mean? They are condemned to the lake of fire. So this is what wicked people do. They do not repent. Now let's read on further, because after Ahab did this, all right, the Creator now said, and set in motion a plan for Ahab to die. But let's show you how Ahab, right, decided to jail a high priest for telling him the truth shortly before his demise. So the Creator had set up the fact that Ahab should die because he was very, very wicked. And this is what is going on in society. The deception is set up to make sure that all the children of Satan are going to get destroyed and sent to the lake of fire. The earth is going to be wiped clean, totally destroyed. And we're going to show you scientifically how it's going to get done. This is one of the things that the pseudosciences, the false sciences that controls the educational system, the religious system, and all the sciences in this world lie to you about. They don't want you to know what's going on, that you are at the ends of the earth and it's going to burn up. Okay? Now, we're reading here from 1 Kings chapter number 22. After the Creator has set in motion the plan that Ahab has to die, because Ahab is wicked. Wicked people don't repent. Now, it says here in 1 Kings chapter number 22, and we're reading from verse 25. And Micaiah said, Behold, thou shalt see in that day when thou shalt go from chamber to chamber to hide thee. And the king of Israel said, Take Micaiah and carry him unto Amon the governor of the city, and unto Joash the king's son. And say, Thus said the king, Put this man in the prison house, and feed him with food of affliction and with water of affliction until I return in peace. And Micaiah said, If thou return in peace, the Lord had not spoken by me. And he said, Hearken all you people. So Ahab wants to go to a war, and the high priest tells him not to go to this war, that if he goes, that he is going to die, because it has been declared, right, and told and set up by the Creator, right, that if he goes to this war, that he will die. What did Ahab do? Ahab took this man called Micaiah, who's a high priest, and said he should be jailed. So wicked people never repent. Children born of wicked people are wicked too, because it's a lineage thing. So this is the point in time in which you have to separate yourself and stop having a conscience over wicked people, because they will never repent. They are the reason why the world is in this mess, and they are the reason why COVID-19 happened, which we are going to tell you how it was done, how it was constructed, and how everything works. Let's go. Satan brought a lot of evil into this world, and the evil that he made was making nature to compare itself. So when you find people comparing themselves or trying to measure up to other people, that is satanism and demonic in nature. Because what happened is this: when Satan ate of the tree of the knowledge of evil, he became mortal. So Satan is a mortal human being right now. He can be killed. If he got into a fight, right, with someone who keeps and practices the commandments of the Creator, he can physically kill Satan. And when Satan is killed, as with every mortal being, when mortality gets destroyed, their soul and their mind goes to hell and then the lake of fire. Satan can be killed. So let me make you understand something. The time that the fallen angels, all right, came into this earth and made it with human women, those fallen angels could be killed. But what happened is that when the fallen angels were killed, all right, and their souls and minds descended into hell, all right, their bodies, their carcasses that were left here became demons. When they degraded, they brought forth demons, and those are the demons that are still in this world today. So Satan in himself can be killed. So what happened at the Garden of Eden was, when Satan ate of the tree of the knowledge of evil, okay, he became mortal. So how did he deceive Eve? He told Eve, oh, take a look at this good tree. Now look at me now. And this is what Satan uses to deceive people by telling you to taste something that you think, by comparison, is something different. You ever heard that? So a lot of people get into homosexuality by saying, let's be open-minded and just try it. That is the idea that Satan gave Eve. So when Satan became mortal, and Eve looked at Satan and said, wow, so you mean to tell me that if I eat of this tree, because that's how women naturally are, if I eat of this tree, I'm gonna look like you? I gotta try this stuff. And that's exactly what happened. Eve ate of that tree and became mortal, just like Satan. So, this is how Satan has twisted humanity by deceiving them to make comparisons. Because if Eve did not compare her immortality with Satan's mortality, she would not have eaten of the tree. Because Satan made a comparison. And Eve said, oh, so my eyes will not look like this. It will look like yours, like the mortal eyes that we have now. Oh, wow, this tree must be something. I'll give it a try. So comparisons breeds evil. Let me make you understand this much more clearly. The water that we see, the rivers, are water. Water is water. It should not compare itself with fire. Does that make sense? A lion is a lion. A lion should not compare itself to an elephant because they are all functioning in their own sphere. So the reason why we have feminism so successful is that Satan has made women to compare themselves to men. Once you compare yourself to somebody else, you lose your own strength. Because now what's going to happen is that you're going to start thinking, all right, like a man and lose the strength of womanhood. Because you have to understand this. Men naturally are weak towards women they love. Naturally. So for example, a son who loves his mother is going to be weak naturally to what his mother ever tells him. When a man loves a woman, he's naturally weak to whatever that woman says to him. He will do anything and everything for her. And men naturally, a man, a good man, naturally protects his woman at all costs. That is something that the Creator made. Why is that so? Because women are like property, okay? If you go and buy a property, let's say land, because here we're using the reference for land. When you buy property, you fence your property around and you protect it. You do not want anybody to get into your property. And that's what men naturally do to women. They protect them. That is the woman's strength, to invoke in a man the need, the want to be able to protect and do anything for her, even if it means he's going to die in the process. That is the power of a woman. But what happens when a woman tries to become a man? Because here is what happens naturally, men. Men oppose other men. It's natural in nature. A man will always oppose another man. He does not want any man to take his space or take his property. It's natural. So once a woman now compares himself to being a man and starts thinking like a man, what happens? She is going to be in direct opposition to a man. And when you go in direct opposition to any man as a woman, you are going to lose. Why? Because one, a man is physically stronger than you. He's much more wiser than you. A real man, I'm not talking about all the effeminate masculinity that's going around. A real man is far stronger. He will whip you at everything. So once you start thinking like a man. You have entered that zone in which the man sees you now as an opposition to him. But you are not going to function in the strength as a man because you don't have it. You're a female. So that is what is going on. And the reason why the world is all upside down, because Satan brought comparisons to human beings and says, compare yourself to this and this and that. If you don't measure up, then you are not who you are. Because that is exactly what he did to Eve. And that is exactly what he's done to humanity through women, through feminism, which is Satanism. A weak form of masculinity in a feminism. So you should never ever compare yourself with anybody. It's demonic. Because, for example, the people who today are transgenders, they are busy comparing themselves. They were born male, all right? And they start comparing themselves to a female. You should be satisfied at what you are. That is just the function of nature. You don't see any trees try to become mountains. Do you see that? Do you see ever a goat try to become a lion? No. They are content because that was their function. That is how they were created. Contentment in where they find themselves. But Satan has passed this contentment by making people to compare themselves to one another instead of being content in what you are and where you find yourself. So today, because of that, feminism has made women, all right, to think that being a woman is wrong, that you gotta be treated equally like a man. When you can't be like a man, you don't have the strength of a man, you don't have the mind of a man, you have nothing in comparison to a man, but yet you want to be treated like one. Feminism has made women to think that being a woman is evil, that they gotta be something else. So Satan has twisted everything upside down.
Start to the day, of course, a little bit mild out there right now at the Honda Classic, but it's picture perfect for this afternoon, waking up to a couple of spotty showers here and there. But as we head into the late morning hours, we should see all of that rainfall clear out. Highs today will be reaching the low 80s, and then we're down to the mid 70s this evening at the Honda Classic. Saturday, Sunday, take a look at those temperatures. Highs in the upper 70s. A few spotty showers will be possible on your Sunday. In the meantime, we are seeing partly to mostly cloudy skies out there in West Palm Beach. 74 degrees, winds coming in out of the southwest at 14 miles per hour. Low 70s in Jupiter, 72 in Stewart, 73 in Fort Pierce, 71 Port St. Lucie. Good morning to you in Wellington. You're sitting in the low 70s this morning. So here's a look at the radar. Of course, not a lot of rainfall out there. Most of the rainfall associated with this front is actually sitting offshore, moving away from us. But we do have one little shower tracking across the acreage this morning. Those showers will continue to dig south throughout the later part of the morning. So I do think by 10, 11 o'clock, most of that rainfall should be out of here. We'll see mostly sunny skies throughout the day with just a few passing clouds this evening. So get outside, enjoy the weather, head to the Honda Classic. It is looking great out there. 83 degrees for this afternoon with temperatures down to the upper 70s this evening. So there goes that front working its way past the area throughout the day. Behind this front, temperatures drop to the mid to upper 70s for Saturday and Sunday in those morning temperatures on the chilly side. Then on Sunday, an area of low pressure develops off the coast, and wrapping around this low, we could tap into a couple of showers. So our rain chances on Sunday at about 20%. But
the reason why you're looking at the book of Genesis and the short clip that you heard earlier is because we want to tell you that nothing that you believe is true. Nothing that you've been taught in your schools, in anything, is actually what it is. So part of the reason why we played the weather clip for you to understand is that we've always been told that there is such a thing as meteorology, the study of weather, all right, and weather forecast. But how is weather forecast really done? Because they'll tell you there are satellites somewhere spinning around, observing the weather, seeing the clouds form and everything else. But that is not true. Weather is forecast by astrology. I want you to listen very well. The astrology that they teach you is not the astrology that they practice and forecast weather with. I'm not going to tell you how they do it, because a lot of people, especially in the Western Hemisphere, and females are practicing witches in Western society. So let me make you understand that. For a typical example, in the United States of America, in the Western world, if a woman wants to go on a date with you, she first of all asks you, what is your birth date? Why is she asking your birth date? She's trying to divine you by astrology if you are a compatible mate. And every time someone practices astrology, what does that mean? They are witches. So most females in the Western society are actually practicing witches and wizards, because they are trying to divine the future by a man's birth date to see if they are compatible. That's why everything is out of whack. And through feminism, they blame the man for everything, instead of the fact that most females in Western society are practicing witches. Because they ask you for your birth date, it's not for anything. It's because they want to know if you're compatible by astrology. Now, the astrology that they learn or they teach them is complete bullshit. Why? Because all the stars are fixed in motion. They do not have any different paths. And through the astrology they teach them, the false astrology they teach them, they think that by looking at horoscopes and other things that they can define or know what a man or what the outcome of a relationship is going to be like. I'm giving you examples of the people who are going to the lake of fire, because 90% of women in this world today are practicing witches, because they are all involved in astrology. Anybody who's involved in astrology is a witch. So that is what's going on. The weather itself is not determined by any satellite in the sky. There are telescopes which are looking at certain stars, and I will not tell you that, because we are not here to help any witches get more witchier. So the weather is done by astrology. It's done by looking at certain stars, which these people know that Satan hops on and changes the weather. So the weather they read to you on the television screen and saying there's satellites and meteorologists, it's all bullshit. All lies. Because everything that you've been told is a lie. It's just like they tell you that electricity flows from the negative potential to the positive potential. That is some bonkers. Electricity does not flow from negative to positive. It flows from positive to negative. Because what usually happens in electricity is this. For electricity to flow, there must be something that is willing to give off its electrons. All right? The thing has to be willing to give off electrons, to move electrons from, because it has so much of it, to the one who doesn't have. That's the way it works. So electricity cannot flow from negative, because negative means you have nothing, to positive. It flows from positive to negative. That's how we're made. Everything flows from the head down to the legs. That is the flow. The flow, or how electricity moves, is the same way water moves. Water moves from a high position to a lower position. That's how it moves. So everything that you've been taught is totally bonkers. It is not true. So why is everything turned upside down the way it is and told you to be lies? What they tell you is not what actually happens in reality. Because it's all a deception. And because also all knowledge was not given to human beings. It was only invested in a high priest. So if you're not a high priest, right, and you're teaching knowledge, what you're teaching is the reverse of knowledge, because that's how it works. Because the high priest represents the creator. So if somebody else is not representing the creator, what is he representing? He's representing Satan. So he teaches you knowledge in the reverse. If you've ever watched a movie such as the movie called Tenet, that is what it's all about, starring Denzel Washington's son, John David Washington. They're teaching you how to inverse or reverse things, because the way the world works is by inversion.
We all believe we'd run into the burning building. But until we feel that heat, we can never know. You do. You chose to die instead of giving up your colleagues. That test you passed? Not everybody does. Welcome to the afterlife.
To do what I do, I need some idea of the threat we face.
As I understand it, we're trying to prevent World War III.
Nuclear holocaust.
No. Something worse.
All I have for you is a word. Tenet. It'll open the right doors, some of the wrong ones too.
You have to start looking at the world in a new way.
And try to understand it. Feel it.
What'll happen here? Hasn't happened yet.
Inverting the truth to lies. And that is what Satan is all about. So they incorporate these lies into everything. They tell you the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. That's a lie. That isn't true. And then they teach you how to shoot guns. But in reality, the way they teach you how to shoot guns is only going to end up killing you. And the truth is, nobody knows how to shoot guns anymore. That is the obvious truth. Law enforcement, military personnel cannot shoot their gun properly out of a military uniform. I know someone's going to ask me, what are you telling me? Give me a gun and I'm going to show you how to shoot. This is not the video for it. I am telling you, you do not know how to shoot a gun. If that is what you're being taught on how weapons are being handled, you don't know how to shoot. And we're going to show you how guns are supposed to be handled and shot properly in our Bible. So, everything that you've been taught is complete bonkers. Lies upon lies. There is no truth, because the people teaching you, remember these words, the people teaching you are not a high priest who is the only representation of the creator in this world. So therefore, everything they teach you has to be in reverse. It has to be evil, because that is how Satan operates. So in the same way that everything has been told to you is a lie, so is the medical industry and all medicine that you take. Because people do not understand this. All the medicine that you take that is fabricated and given to you is constructed from only 3 elements. I won't tell you names of those 3 elements right here. because those who do not love the truth, I want them to die quickly, because the world is full of wicked people. We are not going to help any wicked people longer to survive because they are ignorant and want to stay in ignorance. They think we are trying to sell them something on here, okay? So all the medicine in this world is from 3 elements, and 2 of those elements come from 1 element. Now, to understand medicine, and all medicine comes from religion. I want you to hear this now. All medicine comes from religion. So all the so-called medical books that you read and they teach you is all pseudoscience. Let me explain that so you get to understand. In the scriptures, when any of the remnants was sick, they were told to go to the high priest. That was the solution for sickness. You go to the high priest, and the high priest will tell you what to do about your sickness. And let me show you that. So we're reading from Leviticus chapter number 13, and we're reading from verse number 29. It says, if also a man or a woman had a sore on the head or in the beard, that means you are sick. You have some sort of growth, you have an infection, you have anything, right? Watch out for the next statement. Then the priest shall see the sore. So anytime that someone was sick in the remnants, all right, they went to a high priest. The high priest would look at you and tell you exactly what to do to be well. Did you hear what I just said? So every medicine came from religion. So this is why, for example, if you look at the insignia of the medical industry, whatever medical industry or hospital, it has a snake, a serpent on a pole. Why is that the case? Now, remember the story of Moses, in which they said that the remnants were stung by snakes. And because they were stung by snakes, Moses now said they should make a serpent on a pole, and anybody who looked upon it shall be well. Do you know that whole story was constructed? The creator has nothing to do with a snake, a serpent on a pole, because the serpent was a representation of Satan. Why did Roman Christianity have to impute that into the Bible? Because they wanted to create their own insignia and show you that all medicine comes from religion. So remember what I told you. So if you're sick and you're not seeing a high priest of the remnant, anybody else you see is who? A priest of Satan. And so the medicine is going to work in reverse. So all medicine that they give to humanity is nothing but poison. It does not cure the disease. What does it do? It only alleviates it. That's all what the medicine they give you do. It only alleviates it, and it pushes the sickness to a portion of your body which we are not going to tell you on this particular video. We will tell you on the shape of our world, because the people who are listening to this video are those heading for the lake of fire. We're not going to help them to live. So all the medicine that the medical industry gives you does not provide any cure. It only alleviates it. It can alleviate that sickness for 10 years, 5 years, 4 years, and then bring it up in another form. And when you go to the hospital again, they give you another drug that's going to help alleviate it. So all they do is just alleviate and not cure. That is exactly what happens. And do you know why they can't give you a cure? I bet you wish I'm going to tell you here, right? But I'm not going to do it, because wicked people don't deserve to live anymore. They are ignorant, stupid, and hate knowledge, and are causing all the wickedness that's going on in the world, as you're going to find out as we get on Legends of Roll Call. So all medicine comes from religion. And the whole entire periodic table of chemistry is complete bullshit. Because all the elements that they show you in that periodic table is only three elements. This is why the whole system loves its number 3, the Trinity. Because even though it's 3 elements, it all comes from one element. And we are not going to tell you what it is on this video. So what we're going to do in the future is, because this is the destruction of all legends, we are going to show you in the future, for those who are interested in the truth. That means they want the truth. That means they want to practice doing the commandments of the Creator and come out of the system of Babylon. Right? The system of Babel, which the Creator told all of us in the book of Revelation, come out of her so that you will not be punished with her sins, my people. And this is that cry right here. We are totally going to tell you and show you how you can construct your own communications, so you don't have to be on this filthy internet. You will have your own communication system. You can communicate with anybody in the world. It's very simple physics, but because they've taught us with pseudosciences, it's all wrong. We are going to show you how to make your own petroleum. Okay? We are going to show you how to do that, so you can make your own gas and drive your own car. Because let me tell you something. They say crude oil is dug from the ground, right? We are going to show you how to get your own crude oil from the same ground. But I can bet you that from the very place they tell you that they're digging crude oil up from, if I gave an albino all the materials to dig and find that same crude oil in the ground, they're never going to find it. Why? Because that is what albinism is all about. No knowledge, no wisdom. But we are going to show you how to get your own crude oil, so that you can have your own gas. Because very, very soon, all right, it's not going to be so long, they are going to start rationing how much petroleum you can buy. This is how wicked these people are in this world. And the wicked will go along with it. The people who are going to the lake of fire will go along with the rationing, because they believe what their father in Satan tells them. So we're going to break this down simply for you in the next couple of videos, for those who are interested in the truth, the children of the Creator, on how they can have their own internet, how they can have their own TV, how they can have their own recording system. We wouldn't necessarily teach you how to make cars, because there's an abundance of it, but the vital things that you need to survive for the end of time. Because this whole idea of we being taught to depend on the medical system, depend on all the systems that this wicked governance and Satan has created, is all for the children of Satan. You can live your whole entire life without being sick one day, because all sickness comes from poisons in the food. And since you're not growing your food, you're always going to get sick. That's just how it works. As long as you're not growing your food, you're going to get sick. And once you're sick, you require a hospital for everything. So one of the things that is terrible is that in today's society, women have been taught that they can't give birth except they go to a hospital. Now, let me tell you one of the secrets of the medical industry that you do not understand. Everything about the human body is dependent on your mind. Besides the fact that we are fed poisons that make us sick, the number one reason that we are sick is because of all the information that you've heard that you are weak. Because let me explain this very easy for you, as we've always explained this. If you go into the jungle, into the bush, you find out that the animals around, the animals who live in that jungle, don't get sick. If they are sick, they know what to eat. They do not require any hospitals to give birth. They just push out the babies when it's time. Now, I want you to imagine for a second that human beings, which are the highest class of animals in the world, now require a hospital to give birth, when animals which are lower in rank than them give birth naturally in the bush. What does that mean? Your mentality is the number one reason for why you are sick. Because as we've explained, all medicine comes from religion. And what does religion control? The mind. The religion controls the mind. So as long as you keep hearing the information from a doctor, from the priest of Satan, which doctors are, that you are sick and this is that and this is not, what happens? Your body immediately does what the doctor just told your mind. That is the reason why, for example, somebody will have a sickness and they've lived for this sickness their whole entire life. They didn't even know they have it. Once they go to a doctor and the doctor says, oh, you have cancer, you have 3 months to live. In 3 months, they die or before that time. Why? Why did they live all that period with the sickness for so many years and they didn't die, but immediately they visited the doctor and got the information, they died 3 months later? Your mind. The medical industry, the people at the top, not the lower ranked doctors that you all go to see, which get paid so much money and drive big cars and live in the biggest houses, who don't know nothing at all. The ones at the top who pass the information down know that your mind is the target of making you sick. If they can control your mind, then you're going to believe all the bullshit they tell you about the medical sciences. That is how it works. But people will never understand that because you've been told all your life. Now, let me just make you understand this now. You've been told all your life that you think with your brain. And you've probably heard us say that. Look with your eyes and see with your brain. You do not think with your brain. Your brain does absolutely nothing than being a hormonal store. All right? You have two hormonal stores in your head. One is your brain and one is your thyroid gland. All that is a hormonal store. So when you get your hormones into your body, they all drain from your brain. Why is the brain in the head? Because the brain is in the head so that at all times the hormones can flow without the requirement for a pump.